Part of the new game, Lethal Company.
It sounds familiar. I've been too busy playing Alan Wake though for most anything else.
No, it's a new PC game and it's like booming right now.
See, I don't have a PC, so
yeah, I know. Yeah. But you do have YouTube, so
I do have YouTube. I also have a Steam Deck, but I don't know if it would run on a Steam Deck.
Oh yeah, definitely. It would definitely run on a Steam Deck.
Okay.
The thing is like barely any graphic. It's only like 800 gigs or not gigs, megabytes.
800 gigs. Fucking
yeah, no, 800 megabytes.
We're kind of on that road though. I think like Jedi Survivor was nearly 200. I think, and that was just.
I mean, ridiculous. Yeah, but that map was huge too.
It was, but I don't think it was big enough to justify 200 gigs.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I did. I don't know.
Alan Wake 2, though, I would recommend to you. I would maybe play the first one first, because I do think the story beats land more impactfully if you do play that first one. But my God, I have since we last recorded, I've played a certain section of Alan Wake 2, which I will not spoil, but anybody who's played Alan Wake 2 100% knows what I'm talking about. It is, I think, the most impressive sequence I've ever played in any game, at least from a technical standpoint, but maybe just period. Like, it is fucking bonkers. It's 2023's best moment in gaming. It may not be my favorite or like the most fun I've had in gaming in 2023, but I think from just a quality standpoint, it's like, this is incredible, and it's a fucking miracle they managed to pull this off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I very much recommend it because it's just insane, and I'm sure if you don't end up playing it, you will see it somewhere around. Maybe not if you don't walk in that kind of game space, then you might not. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. I'm not done with it yet, but very good. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Earth's Mightiest Comics. This is the show where every week we talk about the new comics that came out that week, and we give our thoughts and opinions and feelings on them. Apologies for the last episode going up later than normal. It's been a very busy week, and this upcoming week is also going to be probably quite busy. We are both in college, and things are kind of ramping up as the semester is drawing to a close. So I'm going to try and do my best to get this out in a timely manner, but it will definitely be later than normal. So apologies for that as well. But we're still here. We're still talking comics, and as always with these episodes, we are going to be covering all these things in full spoilers, and we will also be providing time codes in the description if you would like to jump around to any particular section of the video. So, all that said and out of the way, let's talk about Daredevil Black Armor #1.
We're starting straight out with this one.
Yeah, we're starting straight out with this one. This is going to be the title one. So yeah, this is Daredevil Black Armor #1. This is the issue that I made Sebastian read this week.
Yes.
It is written by D.G. Chichester, and the penciler is Neto Diaz. So this is kind of a sequel to, I guess, I haven't read this original run, but this is kind of a sequel to the 90s run, which was also written by D.G. Chichester, where Daredevil had this insane, over-designed black armor suit thing. And yeah, so it's kind of picking up after the events of that, from what I gather. Again, I don't know that for a fact because I didn't read the initial story. But what did you think about this one?
All right, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I was falling asleep while reading this. Like, I'm not even joking. I literally fell asleep at my desk while reading this. And I found this boring as all hell. I really don't know. I really couldn't even tell you what happened. I remember bits and pieces. I will say that's something I had an issue with this, is that the plot just feels pretty disjointed, and dialogue feels really stilted and weird, and like, it's just, dialogue doesn't feel like kind of people talking. It kind of just like rushes through a lot of dialogue, and it's like, this is all, here's exposition and plot, but no like anything else. And I think as a result, I also think like the plot itself, I'm not really sure what the plot is. Like, are we focusing on these weird kidnappings? Are we focusing on fucking Sabretooth? Are we focusing on the fact that he's like that Matt is like posing as a con man now? Like, it's kind of juggling a bunch of ideas, but it doesn't seem like it's committing to any of them. So yeah, I think that's kind of an issue with this one. Yeah, see, I don't even remember any kidnappings. I remember Sabretooth. Remember he showed up.
Don't remember the con Fisk.
Yeah, I remember seeing Fisk. I don't remember exactly what his role was, but you know, what else? I saw Venom at one point in a flashback thing.
Yep. Apparently Morbius is in that flashback as well.
Yes, Morbius was there. I saw him instantly. He was the first one I recognized. What else? Wasn't he like getting made fun of for like wearing the armor?
Yeah, at the start, Melvin Potter, Gladiator, he's fixing up his armor, and he's like, the Daredevil I knew didn't need armor, and he's like, well, sucks. I'm getting armor anyway.
Yeah. No.
I like the art. I think the art's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it wasn't bad.
I don't think the cover art is very good, but I like the interior art.
I feel like they like really focus on Matt's like facial lines, bro. Like I remember one scene where it was like zoomed in on his chin. I was like, yo, that man's got like a protruding chin. Like it was like really fucking. There were so many lines going on.
How do you feel about the look of the black armor?
I mean, honestly, I only remember it based off the cover, kind of like literally just looking off the cover. I don't think it looks terrible.
I kind of like it. It's ridiculous, but I kind of like it.
Super ridiculous. I prefer his original. You know, but I don't think this looks bad by any means.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, and then I guess the reveal at the end is that Wolfgang von Strucker is behind the kidnappings. So that's a thing. Listen, this isn't very good. But Sebastian, don't you worry, because I'm going to make you read every issue of this. It's a 4-issue miniseries, and if I have to suffer through it, so are you going to. You are going to as well. So, yeah, this is, I don't think it's very good. That being said, I'm implementing my new rule, Sebastian, because you've got your liminal space rule, which has been driving me crazy the past couple weeks. If I was not, so I'm going to just automatically, and this is maybe more ridiculous or less ridiculous, anytime there's a Daredevil appearance in any comic I read, it's an automatic 10 stars. So
that's
this is how it feels, Sebastian. This is how it feels to be on the other end. So if I were to rate this as I actually feel, it would be a 5 out of 10, or maybe it'd be a 4 out of 10. But it's a 10 out of 10 for me all around, because Daredevil is the best character in all of fiction, and Daredevil's in this issue. So yeah,
that is so much worse than my rule. I've had 3 comics that I've had maybe 4 that I think that it has applied to.
I guarantee I'm gonna forget this. I think it's just because this issue is not very good that it immediately sprung to mind. It's like, give it a 10 for the meme.
I gave it a 3. I gave it a 3.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. We'll be coming back to talk about it on the week of December 20th for Daredevil Black Armor #2. Anyway, man. What do you want to talk about next?
Let's talk about Green Lantern here.
Okay, this is Green Lantern War Journal #3. As with the previous 2, this is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, and the artist on this is Montos. Yeah, it's still good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I still think it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like this one.
I think it's at this point probably better than the main Green Lantern title, and I like that main Green Lantern title, but I think this one is better.
I've only read the first one for the Green Lantern one, so I don't have a lot to compare it to, but I do like this one better.
Yeah, the cover is wildly misleading, though.
It very much is.
At no point does John Stewart fight a bunch of possessed revenant bears in the forest. But there is a very cool action sequence right at the start, wrapping up the train thing. There's lots of cool construct art. The art in this is just great all around. I think the paneling is really good in particular. And then, I think mostly it's just John having a couple heart-to-hearts with a couple of characters. He talks to his mom who's in a coma or something. And he also talks to this, like, mind version of Kyle Rayner, who's one of the Green Lantern Corps. It's not the one from this universe. It's like an alternate universe, Kyle Rayner. Yeah. And then there's also another guy whose name is Cowlin Shepherd, who I don't know much about. I think he has showed up like right at the beginning. But yeah, I don't remember too much about what happens here, but I remember thinking it was just very solid all the way through. Yeah,
it's like the big thing about this one was that John Stewart got infected with the
that's right.
Agent, or what is it?
The Radiant disease thing,
Yeah, Radiant Dead, and he whenever he tries to use like his lantern powers, it essentially like activates it or like spreads it faster or something like that. And so like they're trying to find a way to cure it, and I believe it was Kyle that said like only one other person has ever cured it, and that was you, but from
not yet.
Not yet, essentially, so that's the whole thing right now is they're trying to figure out how to cure Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
I
mean, I think this is probably, it's pretty early to tell. This is one of my favorite DC books ongoing right now. It's like this and Superman are kind of the two ones that I think are consistently the best. So yeah, I think this was really good. I don't have too much to say on this one because again, it's just a very solid kind of straightforward issue. But yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I think it was very, very good.
I give it a 7 out of 10.
Let's talk about Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, I suppose.
All right.
So this is kind of this is where the actual kind of brawl that we've all been waiting for kicks into gear. Particularly, it's Superman versus Godzilla in this issue.
Yes.
For about maybe 40% of it. The other like 60% of this issue is the Bat Family fighting some other monster. It looks like its name is Camazotz. So yeah, it's written by Brian Buccellato. The artist is Christian Deuce. And I think it's good. I think it's definitely better than the first issue.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, from a narrative perspective. I do think I understand why they limited the actual fight between Godzilla and Superman, because really, like, Godzilla has a pretty limited moveset. Like, he can kind of punch or slap, he can tail whip, and he can do the atomic breath, and that's pretty much it. But I think they still managed to get some interesting action sequences or action beats within the sequence. There's a really cool sequence. I'm not sure how this works from a physics perspective, but where Godzilla uses the atomic breath and Superman uses his laser eyes, and they kind of meet in the middle, and it's like a big, like, Harry Potter wand beam kind of thing. I thought that was cool. There's a really cool kind of move where Shazam gets involved and he flies onto like Godzilla's head, and Shazam transforms back into Billy on top of him, like causing him to like be hit with lightning on the top of the head, which kind of knocks him out a little bit. I thought that was cool. And then it ends with Clark trying to save Billy because he's now like just Billy and not Shazam anymore before he can change back. And then in doing so, he kind of shields Billy with his own body against more atomic breath and gets like really fucked up at the end. So, I like that. I think the art works very well for that. I think that you get a good sense of scale of Godzilla at all points. And then I do think, though, the Bat Family versus Camazotz fight is fine, but I don't think it's great. I think it's just okay.
I mean, it definitely wasn't as entertaining as the Godzilla versus Superman, but it was, entertaining in its own way, I guess. It was just it was a lot of speculation around that one. It was just like, what if we tried this? And it was like the first thing they tried and it worked. They decided,
except when Red Hood just like tries to shoot it through the eye and it absolutely does nothing.
I mean, that was his own fault, because everybody else was literally like, don't do this, and he's like, fuck you guys, I'm Red Hood, I'm better than all y'all.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, damn, it didn't work. Why? It's like, okay, well. In this one, we also learned that it wasn't just Godzilla that like came through. It was like basically all of them, including Skull Island, which is there now.
Yeah. I do wonder, I don't know if some of these other kaiju that we see are actually from the Godzilla universe, or if they're just kind of invented for this. Just like I'd never heard of Camazotz or Behemoth.
Behemoth was in the second Godzilla movie.
Okay.
I don't think Camazotz was.
Yeah.
But he was the only one that I hadn't heard of. The others, if I remember,
I do see Mother Lawnless is on here, and I remember isn't that the like big spider from Skull Island? Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the other ones that I recognized, I saw from the Monsterverse, Camazotz was the only one that I like didn't instantly recognized.
It does look like the next issue is going to be interesting because on the way to Themyscira, where Behemoth is, Diana drops off Oliver at Skull Island, and so it looks like next issue is going to kind of have a heavy focus on him trying to kind of survive on Skull Island. There was a nice little character moment where Diana's like, "You sure you got this?" And he's like, "Dude, this isn't my first deserted island. Like, I'll be fine."
Yeah.
Granted, like, Ollie does not really stand a chance on Skull Island for an extended amount of time, I don't think. But yeah, so I think that could be really interesting. But yeah, on the whole, I think it's a fun brawl. It's this is what we came here for with this series, essentially.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think it works. I do wonder how they're going to continue to escalate this past. Presumably next issue is going to have kind of a heavy focus on Kong, but I don't really know how they're going to keep moving this series in the issues beyond that. So we're going to have to kind of see. But yeah, I mean, I liked it enough. I thought it was fun. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I think I'll keep it there, but it's a low 8 for me, I think.
Mm-hmm. I also gave it an 8. 8 out of 10 as well, yeah. Well, all right. Hawkgirl, number 5. So, if you guys remember, I did not like the last issue at all. I quite enjoyed this one, though. This one was a good read. It actually felt like it progressed the story somewhat. And yeah, I kind of got a bit more, well, I didn't get more info, but I kind of understand like a bit more about how Vulpecula's plan is actually going to work. And this one, it was essentially she captured both Kendra and Galaxy, and she basically harnessed Galaxy's powers through a machine and shoved it into Kendra so she could go into her memories and like do something. It was like convince her old self to do something exactly. I don't exactly remember what, but yeah, it was just, this entire thing was like mostly just us going through Kendra's life and like going through her hardships. Well, she would like, they basically both end up with the same memory. She would try to stop Vulpecula from convincing her younger self, Kendra's younger self, to like, I think it was like basically to like essentially give in to Vulpecula, and eventually she found a Kendra that was like super depressed, and she basically was like, yeah, all right, you can do what you want. And so it shot her to the nth world, but it didn't. It ended with Kendra being in the nth world, and we have no idea what happened to Vulpecula. So yeah, I thought it was an interesting read, at least especially compared to last issue, and so I gave it a 7.
All right, I guess I will move on over to. I'll talk about Universal Monsters Dracula number 2, written by James Tynion IV. The artist on here is Martin Simmons, and yeah, it's still very good. Unsurprisingly, because James Tynion IV essentially never writes a bad comic. I'm sure he has in the past, but I've never read one. So yeah, this essentially just kind of provides more context on some of the family. We do meet Abraham Van Helsing as well, who kind of puts some doubts in the doctor guy's head. Dr. Seward, I believe is his name. About like, what's going on with Renfield. We also do actually see Dracula in a somewhat, at least more prominent role in this issue. He goes on and he does some hunting. He also does turn into a bat in this issue. He still turns into a wolf as well, but he does turn into a bat. So, I mean, I think, yeah, it's still very good. It's very creepy. The atmosphere is just, it's top notch. I think, the entire, the way this story is being told and adapted here, again, I have not seen the original movie, but it feels like very much a labor of love, and that they really do like care about this original film, and they are trying to recreate it in the comics medium as best they can, while still making some shifts to fit the medium. And the art is just it's ridiculously good. It's so it fits the story so well. It fits the atmosphere so well. It almost looks like a painting most of the time. There's long stretches where there's pages where there's just no dialogue, and it's just the art shining on its own, and it's really spectacular in that regard. I think it's a absolute just masterpiece in terms of the art and the inking and the coloring. It's all like really combined into this just absolutely just like picturesque, but still quite horrific imagery in here. So yeah, I think this is very good, well worth reading. I had it at an 8. I think I'm gonna boost it to a 9 though. I think this one is worthy of a 9.
All right, yeah. I was a bit bummed that I missed that one this week. Let's talk about Avengers Inc. number 3.
All right, I did not read this one. I was gonna read it, but most of the other things on my poll list this week kind of took priority, so I just didn't get around to it.
Yeah. So this one was about Janet. Yeah. Yes, as in the Wasp. Yes. She had to solve a murder that occurred in Valhalla. Now, instantly, we know who dies.
It's Scourge, right?
Yes, it is Scourge.
I knew it.
And it's interesting because, right, so the way he dies is that he went to go turn a roasting pig, and his axe flew off of its handle, started floating in the air, and he called out, basically saying, like, everybody, my axe is floating, get back here. And it just came in, it just went and stabbed him in the chest, and he died. So it was like, it wasn't like a mystery murder where, like, they don't, well, I guess it was a mystery murder because they don't know who did it. Right. But it's not like it happened, like, far away where nobody saw it.
Right.
What I'm trying to say. Literally everybody who saw it. So Jane goes to visit Jan and basically is like, everybody's telling me that you're the person for the job, and she's like, okay, sure. And so she goes there and they go to like, it's like a house thing. But yeah, it's a fight in there. It's like a straight up brawl. And so as they are going through, like walking through, Janet just starts asking the Asgardians some questions about what exactly had happened. In the middle of this, we get the Grim Reaper is also in Valhalla, and he attacks Victor Shade for thinking that it's Vision. And what else?
That's interesting because Vision and Grim Reaper have a long history together.
Exactly. That's exactly
Vision
why
has like the brain waves of Wonder Man partially, who is the Grim Reaper's like half brother or something.
That's exactly why he attacked him. He went like, "You're the machine," and so he attacked him. And they got him to stop with it was the other Valkyrie, Brunhild.
Brunhild, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so not Jane, Brunhild. Like, basically tackled, like, grabbed him and, like, subdued him and stuff. And I don't know how they got him to stop past that. He kind of just, like, But, so eventually Jan literally interviewed, like, 3 people before she was like, oh, okay, I already know who did it. And lo and behold, it was Odin that killed Scourge.
Huh. Wait, Odin's dead, though.
He's in this comic, mind you. Janet literally talked to him and everything.
Okay. And I guess if he was dead, he would be in Valhalla, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So, she was like, I know you did it. And he blows up and is like, how dare you accuse me of that? Like, I'm power on power. I can fucking just wipe you right now. And she's like, well, listen to me. I know there's only, like, 2 ways to escape Valhalla. Either the Allfather lets you out or you die. And I know nobody in Valhalla can kill someone else out of anger. So what you did was you and Scourge, like Scourge had to leave for which because he's like got a dream that Thor was gonna die on a bridge or something, and instead of Thor dying, it was gonna be Scourge. So he had to leave to fulfill that prophecy. So what Odin did was basically use his invisible hand powers to lift the axe and chuck it into his chest. And all of this takes place during Immortal Thor 1.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so that's continuity. I thought this was really okay. Besides the fact that like Victor Shade knew the Grim Reaper's like actual name, none nothing new happened in like that aspect, which is like the original, I feel like, plot of this entire comic.
Yeah.
Nothing else happened. And I feel like Jan solved this way too easily. So yeah, it was an alright read. I gave it a 6.
Okay. Well, I'll move on to the Bone Orchard Mythos Tenement number 6. This is written by Jeff Lemire, artist is Andre Sorrentino. And I don't have much to say on this one, but yeah, it's still good. I do think it's not quite on the same level as last issue. I think a big part of that is because I think the plot of this one does not lend itself to as much interesting imagery artistically as the previous issues have. Because this is mostly just, and you'd think it would because of the concept that I'm about to say, but how it plays out doesn't really give the opportunity as much to actually make use of some of that imagery. So it's essentially just after Isaac fell into that weird place last issue where he found Felix, he essentially just sees kind of into each person's world, kind of individual world, and kind of their biggest like fears or nightmares is what it seems to kind of be. And then kind of one by one, he starts managing to pull them out and kind of gather them all in one area. And then right at the end, there's a whole bunch of things that start attacking them. It is important to note that they are now on floor number 4, so they are making progress down the building. They're on their way out. And then yeah, they kind of right at the end, Felix shepherds them through this like tunnel area, and he's like, "Oh, let's go." So that's kind of where it goes. Again, I think it's good. I think the paneling is very good. And the layouts, but I just don't think that, again, artistically, it doesn't necessarily afford the opportunity to get super creative with it because of the way all of these characters' fears are portrayed. It's still really well written, though. It's still really well drawn. And next issue rather, the title appears to be Revelation. So presumably we'll get some kind of answers on what's going on in the next issue, more definitively at least. So yeah, again, I still think it's good. I do think I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, some of this cast probably needs to be picked off because there's still only been one death.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but I do think that when a cast is this big, it helps to eliminate some of them so that we can actually focus more closely in on some of them. And granted, like, there is clear favoritism among these characters. Like, Isaac appears to be kind of the main character right now, and he has been probably for a couple issues, I would say. But I do think it would be helpful to just get rid of some of them so that we have kind of a easier time focusing on the remaining ones. We do get a bit more. What I do like about this is it does kind of serve as a way to mini exemplify or give some of these characters some mini character development and arcs and kind of dive a little bit into their motivations and why they are how they are. So we learn, like, the asshole, we kind of learn like some of what his deal is and why he's so kind of just jerky and standoffish. And so it's kind of a similar thing, like through these kind of nightmare scenarios they're put in. We do get a kind of a little bit of a better sense of who they are as characters. That being said, because there are still so many, we get like 2 pages for each character. So it's not a huge amount that we kind of get to dive into the character psyches, but it is there, and I appreciate that. And I think next issue is going to be really interesting to see kind of how it all plays out. So I think it's still very good. I give it an 8. But not quite as high as some of the previous ones. Anyway, that's Bone Orchard.
I'll talk about Garrick the Flash number 2 now.
This is another one that ended up at the bottom of my pile and I didn't get to, yeah.
Yeah. So writer Jeremy Adams, artist Diego Olortegui. All right, so I don't have a lot to say on this one. It starts off with the JLA. And that's where they introduced the Robert from the cover. That's where we first see him. And yeah, then we go back to present day, and they're at Star Labs, getting Boom, or what was her, Judy, checked out to make sure she's okay. And so yeah, so they go back home, and all that really happens is that she goes to the mall with Stargirl, just to like get, to experience life as it is now and stuff. And Jay's worried, so he like kind of tails them at the very end, and that's when Robert shows up and tries to attack them. And so Jay springs out, saves them, but it's not down and out. So they go and help it, and they just knock it out. And I think that was it. I'm drawing a blank on if there was anything else, but I believe that was essentially it. That he just showed up at the mall and they all just knocked it out again. So I mean, like, it was a super simple read. It was enjoyable to see Judy in like the new mall, like how with everything that's new that's happened over the years. As she's still like a teenager. She didn't actually like age anyway in any way. She's just regular old teenager now, just in the future. So it was fun to see her interact with everything that's new and see her like friendship with Stargirl. But yeah, I think that was pretty much it. So yeah, super simple read, and I gave it 7.
Okay, I suppose I will move on to Superman number 8. This is written by Joshua Williamson, and the artist on it. There's kind of a lot of artists. It's David Baldeon, Gleb Melnikov, and Jamal Campbell. Yeah, this series continues to be very solid. This kind of wraps up the mini arc, The Chained, and kind of tees up the next kind of mini section of this arc, where Clark and also I believe Connor Kent, Superboy, go up against The Chained, and we kind of get we get his whole kind of backstory, and how he like killed his father. He's the son of Sebastian Stryker. We get him kind of trying to be recruited by Farm and Graft, who are kind of the main villains of this run so far. And then a bunch of them they try and take down the Chained, and I think they do ultimately kind of manage to, from memory. The Chain is just like completely going after Lex because he's the one who kind of put him in that big botched containment facility thing. Just Chain has essentially just the powers to like manipulate and alter a huge amount of reality. So Lex was like, we gotta get rid of this guy. And so yeah, that's pretty much this issue. It's mostly kind of a big brawl. It does end with Superman dons this like kryptonite power armor with these like kryptonite boxing gloves to take down the Chained, because the Chained is apparently also weak to kryptonite. And so it ends with, after that brawl and Superman gets the Chained down, he gets like kryptonite poison and like injected into him, and his whole like body is full of kryptonite. And so that's kind of where the issue ends up on that cliffhanger. So yeah, again, very good still. I think it's a very solid, just solid series all the way through. It's one of absolutely the best series at DC. It may be the best series at DC right now. And it's very good across the board. And yeah, I gave this one an 8 out of 10.
Let's talk about the best comic this week, Catwoman.
Oh my god. Okay, so this is Catwoman number 59, written by Tini Howard. The artist on this is Stefano Raphael. Why did you make me read this, Sebastian?
I don't know.
Here's the thing. I think conceptually, this is quite interesting. I like the idea of the meteor from Gotham War having given Selina like 9 lives. I don't know if it makes sense, but whatever. It's a big space rock in a superhero comic. I kind of just accept this stuff. My problem with it, and I do like the idea of like, now that she has these lives, she can go and take on missions and heists that she previously deemed too dangerous to do. And it's a cool idea. That being said, I didn't realize that that's what this issue was doing until I started reading other people's comments about it and realizing that like they knew what that was. Because the dialogue is fucked. It makes like it's so hard to follow. Yeah, bad. Just constantly feels rushed. People do not talk like people. It's just like the dialogue, the conversations don't flow because the dialogue is like weirdly. It doesn't feel like. It feels like when people are responding to what other people are saying, they are responding to something completely different than what the character actually said, and so they're having like 2 different conversations, but it's the same conversation. You have to try and like piece together what the hell is actually happening, because it seems like they're like completely on different pages, and it's just a mess because of that. And I just don't so I had a really hard time following this. I also think it's pretty dumb that immediately she's just down 2 lives in this issue. Like, they just straight up burned through 2 of them. One of them, like, really just matter-of-factly to the point where you don't even know it's a death until the very end of the issue. So it just feels disjointed and really weirdly rushed, and the dialogue is really the biggest problem I have with this. Because again, conceptually, there's some cool ideas here, but I just don't think it flows well. Also, I'm not a fan of the purple Catwoman suit, personally. I think the black one's better, but that's just personal preference.
Man, we kind of agree on most of it, which I kind of agree on most of what you just said. I liked the idea of the 9 lives. I hate the fact that essentially what this entire arc is going to be is just her getting rid of all 9 of them. I mean, that's so fucking dumb. Why introduce something?
They need to space like that out, I think.
Not even like space it out. Like, just let her have it at this point. Like, fuck it. She's got 9, literally has 9 lives. She's like one of the, like, literally, like, one at this point, at that point would have been like one of the, like, strongest, like villains in like DC, essentially, because she had 9 fucking lives. But nah, they're just like, she has 9 lives, and throughout this arc, she's just gonna she's just gonna lose them all. Like, and like you said, like the first time she lost a life, like it was so hard. Like, I noticed simply because I had a feeling that's what they were going with this, and I hated the fact that they were. And so I was like trying to wait for it, and when I saw that first one, I was like, no shot, they're doing this. And then I saw the second one, I was like, oh my god, they really are. I was scared she was gonna lose all 9 in just this one.
That would have been hilarious. It would have had to be like literally every other page. That would have been really funny.
I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I also agree with you even on the suit, dude. The story is so bad. I got so lost like partway through it. So she went over there with the cat to find the lady to put her under arrest, only to return the cat again.
The whole thing with the cat, I was like, what the fuck is the point of this?
It's not good.
And then there's that whole like weird like thing where the person Selina was chasing is like, I never let anybody leave my side except this one guy, and you killed him and I wasn't the one to kill him even though I let him go. And I was like, what is any of this?
The dude's not even dead.
I didn't know that. I just kind of assumed, because the way this is structured is just a fucking mess, so I didn't know.
I'm pretty sure he's the one that has the cat in the first.
No,
one.
That's a different guy.
Is that a different guy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then that guy might be dead. I don't know. I thought that guy, Selina just lied about killing him, and that he was still alive. He just has the cat over in Gotham or whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, I think this would be a good idea to space out over the entire run of Selina gradually losing lives over, like, I don't know, like 40 issues or something. We see Selina kind of lose all these lives, and maybe even culminating in either she loses the ability to have new lives, or she just straight up dies at the end. And nobody's ever really dead in superhero comics, but like for a little bit, then she dies and all that stuff. So I think that would have been more interesting. But this seems like they're gonna do this entire story idea in the space of like 5 or 6 issues, which is just not enough room to do this. So are you gonna read the next one?
No, God no.
Okay. I wasn't sure. So anyway, again, I initially had this at a 6. I'm gonna drop it to a 5. Because again, I think generally, like, story concept and idea is really good, but the execution is really bad. So I'm just gonna go right in the middle and say 5 out of 10, and I'm just gonna leave it there.
I had this at a 5. I'd honestly be willing to drop it. I'm gonna drop it to a 4, honestly. Talking about it, this shit made no sense. It was so bad. It was all over the place. It was bad, bro. Not a good one. Okay. Well, moving right along, I'm gonna talk about, I believe this is the last one that I read that Sebastian did not read, and that is Titans number 5. I caught up on Titans just in time for Beast World starting next week. I keep wanting to call it Beast Wars, but that's the Transformers thing. This is good. I think this series is still very solid. I know people are kind of divided on Tom Kane as well, but Tom Taylor's writing.
I know people are very frustrated with his Nightwing run currently, but I think so far here it's this Titans run has been quite good. It's not perfect. I think some of the pacing is a little bit hit or miss, but I do think generally it's quite good. So Tom Taylor is the writer, Nicholas Scott is the artist. Yeah, I think so. This issue itself kind of seems like wraps up the whole thing of Wally potentially dying, because at the start of this run, Wally ran back in time and was like, "Hey, Titans, I die in like 48 hours. Can you help me prevent this?" So it seems like they might have passed that point, and Wally's okay. It feels like a little bit anticlimactic the way they wrapped it up. I mean, it's fine, but it also seems kind of inconsistent with this run so far, because I don't remember that first issue, but I think they even mention in this issue that Wally was shot and killed point blank. But the way this is handled is Linda gets possessed by a weird like sea parasite that Garth Tempest kind of possesses her with. He has also been possessed by this as well, working for Brother Eternity and that New Church of Blood. And so then she kind of launches that parasite at Wally, and Wally just kind of dodges out of the way, and then Dick uses his electro baton thing to get rid of the parasite thing, which then makes me think like, well, is this actually wrapped up then? Because that's not a gunshot. So I don't remember if that was actually how this run started, but yeah, there's that. Then there's also the Titans in Borneo trying to do some reforestation after a whole big like forest fire in the earlier parts of the run. They also they gain a new member this issue in the form of the current Swamp Thing, who is a character I am not really familiar with. I'm assuming this is the same character from the most recent Swamp Thing run, which was written by Ron V. I haven't read it, but people say it's really great. This character's name is Levi Kamei, I believe. So I'm not really familiar with him, but I'm assuming he's the same Swamp Thing from there. So they put him on the team, and then this issue ends with Brother Eternity seemingly being revealed as a Tamaranian, so the same species as Starfire. It's pretty good, I think. It's not, this series is never really a highlight of the week for me, but I think it's always solid that I've read so far. I think the art looks very good. I'm not happy about the fact that we're immediately jumping into another event. I know we've had a few weeks since Gotham War wrapped up, but I'm kind of just tired of events just constantly happening in DC. They're happening a lot in Marvel too, to be fair. It's just we don't cover a lot of the Marvel ones so far because we're not caught up on those particular series. But I do think this is positioned in a good place going into Beast World. I don't know really still what the actual plot of Beast World is going to follow, but I am interested to see it. That starts next week, which I'll definitely be planning to cover. And yeah, I think it's pretty good. So I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Let's talk about Wonder Woman here.
All right, Wonder Woman number 3. This is from writer Tom King and artist Daniel Sampere. Right off the bat, I think this is probably the weakest issue of the 3. I still think it's good, but it's very dense, which again is not inherently a problem. But I do think I felt it more in this one because a lot of it is focused on that guy, Sovereign, I think is his name, who's he's got the lasso of lies, and so he's kind of doing his thing, and he's like running the country maybe or something. I do like the whole conversation between Diana and Sergeant Steele in the office building. Particularly, there's a great double-page spread where Steele keeps being like, "I've got an army, I've got a fucking army," and then Diana's like, "Yeah, well, I've got a fucking invisible jet that's parked right outside your window," and it's a very cool panel, just a very cool page. Again, this whole, I mean, it's fantastically drawn. The art in this is very good all the way through. But I do think the denseness of this story and the fact that it is so very exposition heavy on the Sovereign and kind of giving us more on him, it's interesting. But I also do still feel, and this is something that I think I mentioned in the first issue, it kind of feels like Wonder Woman is a supporting character in her own book right now. And I kind of wish she would take more of an active, like, front seat in the story. So I'm a little bit kind of, I do kind of find myself thinking that her presence is not as prominent as it maybe should be as of right now. But I do think for what's here, it is good. I'm just not entirely sure if I love how much they seem to kind of almost be sidelining Diana in her own book and making it more this kind of political intrigue story.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy. It was pretty dense. I was kind of interested in the Sovereign side when he was literally just talking about like the artifacts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like kind of like as soon as he brought out like the whole what was it, Lasso of Lies thing?
Yeah.
That's where it kind of got a little bit convoluted because he was just started saying like, yeah,
that's where I thought it got more interesting actually.
I don't know, because like that's when he started talking about like, yeah, we both got to touch this, and then he was like basically all it does, right, is if the other person's holding it and you tell them a lie, then they end up believing it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it's like literally the opposite of Lasso of Truth, where if they're touching the lasso, they have to speak the truth. But this one is
I think the way
have to believe the lie.
Yeah. And I think the way they handled that scene was really interesting and like really fucking dark too, because it starts out like
definitely is. It definitely is.
Well, it starts out with Sovereign just being like, "Yo," he's just talking to that random soldier. He's like, "Yo, like, you must have felt humiliated losing to Wonder Woman." He's like, "No, she's a fucking superhero. Like, this is a job. Like, I move on. You know, it's a miracle. It's, if anything, it's a miracle we all survived." Because she was like whipping a tank above her head, and then when he gets the lasso, he's like, then the Sovereign is like, "You must have felt devastated. It must have been a terrible tragedy on your part. Like, it took away your whole like sense of identity and masculinity and stuff. And you need to just put an end to this as quick as you can." And then he just goes home and shoots himself. I'm like, holy fuck! Like that I think was more interesting in the way that whole scene was played out. I just think it was super dark, and like I think it was well written. And seeing the manipulation of the Sovereign in that instance, I think was really more interesting than just him like going like, yeah, this is the gun that shot and killed Abraham Lincoln.
No, yeah, I mean, and I think that's going to be a big. I know that's going to be a big part of it going forward. Is that like not even just the Lasso of Lies, but honestly, it kind of seems like that suicide itself, because he wrote the note saying like this is all Wonder Woman's fault.
Right. Yeah.
And stuff, and yeah, I think it was also revealed this one that the Amazon that did all that stuff in the bar.
She's pregnant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I was right. I was right. Yeah, it was revealed that she's pregnant.
But also, like, is that a lie? Like, I wouldn't put that past Steele to just be like,
exactly,
just throw that in there to fuck with Diana. So that may or may not be true. Yeah,
it may or may not be true, but it is in there.
Yeah.
So
I just forget about that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, I really loved the whole Diana just like walking through the I don't even know what building that was. Honestly. Yeah.
Well, I think she consistently is written well, even if she's not in it very much. I think they're nailing her just kind of like optimism and just kind of general like an attitude as she's just kind of moving through this whole space. I think is really well captured in this.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like she's like, yeah, nobody can stop me, so I'm just gonna do what I want anyway.
Yeah,
y'all can try, but it won't end well.
Yeah,
and so, but yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it was, but like you said, it was super dense. I will give you that, especially that whole the Sovereign bit. And yeah, we shall see where this goes.
Yeah,
at this point. Yeah, I think that whole soldier suiciding himself is going to be a huge part now to this whole story.
Yeah. There's also a backup story where Damian tries to is essentially babysitting who it looks like is the daughter of Diana, who I didn't know she had a kid, but apparently she does. So Damian is like babysitting her, and then he takes her out on an adventure to beat up Killer Croc or something. It's fine. It's just nothing. As is the usual with these kind of backup stories. Anyway, so I still think it was good, but just not quite up to the standard of the previous two issues. I gave it a 7.
I also gave it a 7.
Okay, well, let's move on to the second to last one here. Let's talk about Void Rivals number 6.
Void Rivals.
I still don't love it. I don't think it was... I think it was better than last issue, but I still think issue number 4 is the highlight so far. So it's written by Robert Kirkman. The artist is Lorenzo De Felici. The art looks great all throughout. I think it's very just nice and clean. But plot-wise, I just find myself not really caring. I, again, think that Darek is quite uninteresting. And Yeah, I don't think they. It's a kind of a big escape from Zertonia trying to move over to Agoria in this issue, and I think the action is fine, but as a result, Salila doesn't get quite as much character moments, and I still think by far she was the most interesting character in the series. So as a result, I just found myself kind of just a lot of this kind of just washed over me, I feel, and I still didn't end up loving this one.
No, I will agree with you there. This one, for what it was honestly a little bit boring. It was literally just Salila's like this easiest prison escape of her life, honestly. And then it was just them at that point just trying to escape. Is it?
They are in Zertonia.
Zertonia, and they're trying to go to Argonia.
They're going to Agoria, yeah.
Agoria, yeah. So yeah, they're trying to escape Zertonia, and the original plan was to get to a ship. That failed because a little child wanted to see his mother, which I bet she's not real. Fricked up. And so yeah, so I guess they escaped on a train. That didn't work either. And so their plan was to jump into like a wasteland that apparently nobody has ever survived. And that's pretty much it.
We do see there's something the Stutchelate is turning over the ship that Dark and Salila made to the Quintessons. And then also we do see kind of more of the leader of Zertonia being like, we cannot unite the ring. It must never happen. And then it's like activate Primus, I believe he says.
Yeah, that was the very end. Yeah.
Is that a Transformer?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I know obviously there's the Primes. Like there's Optimus Prime, and then there's that other dude. I do still think the thing about like the two halves of the ring uniting and the reason why the leaders don't want that to happen, I think that is still very interesting.
Yes.
But we don't get to see much of that, and again, we don't see a whole lot of Salila, her characterization or kind of more of her history. And I do think that that's been the most kind of interesting part of the series so far. I still think Dark is just like a plank of wood of a character. I don't think he's very interesting at all. So, and he's also an idiot. Like he's just constantly so like when Salila, like when he helps to break Salila out, he's like, it's okay, you would have done the same for me, and she's like, no, I wouldn't have. And he's like, well, now that I've done this for you, you would do the same for me. And she's like, no, I probably still wouldn't. He's like, can you just like fucking pretend? I'm like, Dark, why do you still trust this person? Like she is actively telling you not to at the every step of the way. But yeah, I do think I liked it better than the last issue, but I do think that it's in a bit of a slump post issue number 4. I gave it a 6. I think it was fine.
I also give it a 6. Yeah, it's like you said, it's in a slump right now. I think maybe the next one will like pick it up again. But I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Because I think that wasteland bit can be like, since it's like a danger zone or whatever,
right.
It's gonna be a bit more interesting than them just prison, essentially.
It is also there's quite a big gap between this and the next issue. The next issue doesn't come out till March. So we got I guess from what the letters page said, they're letting kind of the rest of the books catch up a little bit, so Void Rivals isn't so far ahead. So yeah, that'll be a little ways off. We get a break from this series for a little bit.
Yes.
All right. Well, unless you have anything else to say on Void Rivals, we can move right along to the final issue of the week, which is The Incredible Hulk number 6. And this is my pick of the week.
Same.
Yeah. I think this is the best issue of this series since the first issue, and it might be the best one, full stop. Just, first of all, the writer's Philip Kennedy Johnson. The artist is Nick Klein. It is fantastic to have Nick Klein back on this series. I think his art is just so, it suits this title so well, and what the writing, it matches the writing so well. No shade or disrespect to Travel Foreman, who did the fill-in for the last 2 issues. I think he was good. I just think that this run really excels with Nick Klein's art on it, because there is the most fucking horrific Hulk transformation I think I've ever seen in this issue.
That was a gruesome one.
Yeah, where Hulk essentially emerges from inside Banner and rips him apart from the inside. It is horrifying. The body horror that Nick Klein can do is just unmatched, I think, so far from anything I've seen from the rest of the series where he's not been on it. Also, incredible 2-page spread of Ghost Rider showing up on the scene towards the very end of the issue. I do think the start of the issue was maybe not as engaging. Not even the start, but like when Charlie and Bruce are just kind of hitchhiking. Like, it's very traditional standard Hulk stuff. It's fine. It's well executed. I just think it's nothing I haven't seen before, so it didn't really like super engage me. But I'm interested to see what this Ghost Rider deal is. It's not any of the established ones, as far as I'm aware. I don't think we've ever seen this one before. It's certainly not Johnny or Danny or Robbie is the third one. It's not any of those three. It seems to be a new one. He's got like a kind of almost like a World War I-esque look to him, I feel. Granted, I don't know much about war or like historical wars, so I could be totally off base with that, but that's the impression that I got. And I also think the start part, the very start with that weird like demon dude who was just like eating people at the camp, like that was really interesting and cool. And it seems like that guy's just a normal dude, but he just gets possessed like here and there and just has these like insane intrusive like thoughts that just pop in. He just keeps seeing himself, like he sees himself killing his wife. He sees himself like running down two people in the street. And he's like, no, it's my mind is quiet. It's all good. And we do see kind of what appears to be a flashback of him being the one to go and attack that camp. So yeah, just very cool. Looks like there's going to be an actual like full on brawl between Ghost Rider and Hulk next issue. Anyway, really great all the way through. I just think it was just fantastic throughout.
Man, you did not give me a lot to talk about here. I really like the beginning part. I think I'm gonna like say it was like a chupacabra, maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's kind of what it like. I mean, I think they're in like what, New Mexico.
Something like that. Could be like Arizona, but I think it was New Mexico, yeah.
I liked that one, and then towards the middle was a bit slow with the whole hitchhiking bit, but with him seeing the Hulk and the old lady telling him, cool. Like saying like, why, I told you to stay away. This is all on you, and then him transforming into like the most gruesome way possible.
Yeah,
was just beautifully drawn.
Yeah.
And I like you said, this one was really well done. Just really, really good comic.
Should I give this a 10? I have it at a 9 right now, and it was mostly because I do think that section was where their hitchhiking was less interesting. But that being said, I think the parts of this that are really great are so great that they might outweigh that. And also, thinking about it, like I think this is probably my favorite issue of the run so far, and I know I gave issue 1 a 10. So fuck it, I'm gonna give it a 10. I think it was really great.
You have to,
yeah.
I'm gonna stick with my 9.
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for this episode of Earth's Mightiest Comics. Next week, some stuff is going on. We're not going to be covering this because we're not caught up, but the Amazing Spider-Man Gang War crossover starts next week officially. New issue of Captain America. If you watched the episode where we talked about that last time, you would know I am fucking fascinated to see what happens there. I am so interested as to what the hell is going on with that series. It is weird, but it's really interesting. I think it's really something I'm looking forward to. New issue of The Flash. Again, I don't know if I love this series, but I do think it's very interesting. I'm excited to see what kind of happens next. We also have a new issue of Moon Knight. That run is very close to wrapping up before it transitions into the new Vengeance of the Moon Knight miniseries, or I don't know, the new Vengeance of the Moon Knight series that is going to be from the same creative team. New issue of Something Is Killing the Children before it goes on a bit of a break again. This is the finale to this arc. Did you ever find 34, Sebastian?
I did. I have to read it still. I'm waiting. I was waiting specifically for this week.
Yeah,
reading it.
And then also Titans Beast World #1. That crossover kicks off, so you can be damn sure we'll be talking about that because we just cover all the DC events. I guess that's what we've started doing.
What we do.
Yeah. Anything else you want to shout out here?
Nope. I got nothing.
All right. Well, again, that wraps us up for this week. Thank you, everybody, for watching or listening. If you are on YouTube, you can, of course, like the video if you enjoyed the video. You can also subscribe to the channel, and you can hit the bell notification if you would like to be notified whenever we upload new videos so you never miss an upload. You can also leave us a comment letting us know what you think about the comics that have been coming out recently. What are some of your favorites? What are some of your least favorites? Any recommendations that you have that we are not reading? And if you would like to let us know all that on Spotify, you can do so at earthsmightiestcomicspod@gmail.com. That is our email address. It is all one word with no apostrophe in the word Earth. And you can also follow the show there on Spotify if you would, again, like to be notified and make sure you don't miss any episodes. So yeah, again, thanks for listening, everybody, or watching, and we will see you in the next episode.